Later is a myth. So you find yourself seeing something that you need to do and thinking, I'll do that later. But then it sits there forever. There's rarely a time that we find ourselves going, it's later now. I should do that thing. No, instead I'm thinking about all of those other things that I need to do that maybe actually have a deadline or need to be done soon or are just more recent and current on my mind. Like that loose doorknob that needed tightening on my bathroom door handle for like 2 years. So that for 2 years, I find myself thinking 3 times a day, I should tighten that doorknob later. Meanwhile, the paint is rubbing away, I'm feeling bad about it and thinking I should do it. That mental drain adds up. Since later doesn't really exist, we need to find a way to convert later into now. Maybe it would benefit from being more specific, like I need to go get screwdrivers because I don't own any. What do I need in order to do that thing? Or what's getting in the way? Or when actually makes sense to do it? In the case of the doorknob, it turns out I was kind of worried I might do more damage. Probably not more than leaving it for 2 years, but I was worried about doing more damage. So finally, when I thought about it as a potentially now thing, I actually paused and asked somebody, hey, how do I do this thing? Then they actually just fixed it for me. But I could have done that 2 years earlier. But what I had to do was really think about it, not as an abstract in the future, but as a thing that I might actually potentially do now if I had the tools, in this case, knowledge. If I'd paused and had that realization sooner, maybe it didn't need to haunt me for 2 years. So just start to notice. When do you find yourself thinking, I'll do that later? And maybe get curious. What would it take to turn later into now? Or maybe it's really more of a thing I should never do. But we have to pause in order to ask ourselves that question. So, what have you found yourself thinking, I'll do that later about?